guys, welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. This is the post-match fan reaction show. You guys can call in, speak to us about the Tottenham Hotspur 2 Arsenal 3 defeat in the North London derby. I'm here with Marlon from Spurs Kings TV. Make sure you give them a subscribe if you're not already. They're so close to 2,000. Have you made it there yet?
5 more.
5 more. We need 5 more of you to subscribe. Spurs Kings TV should be in the description box, if not even in the main part. And also follow Barnaby Slater _ as well. But of course, we've got to talk at the start a little bit about how disappointing that game was. I have to say, kind of 45 minutes after the fact, I'm a little bit kind of calmer than I was in that last 10 minutes.
You are, yeah.
It's the hope that kills you. And, you know, when we got into that last 10 minutes and I thought, can we make a chance to... Because actually, if we'd equalise, it would have been one of the great moments in Spurs recent history, that's for sure.
Yep.
But how are you feeling, Marlon, more importantly?
I hate losing to Arsenal.
Yeah.
We've done the match reaction, so you probably get most of my views on there. But as the week goes on, I'll start to reflect on what's happened today and start to feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm kind of in the sense of I'm not going to be reactionary. I'm going to try my hardest not to be. But you know what? These things happened. I was after half time. I was expecting 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I was too, to be honest.
But it never happened. And actually, the fact we got it back, I know the scoreline flatters us completely, but we still got it to that scoreline.
Does it flatter us completely? If you look at all the data, so I've been going obviously through all the stats and whatever. You know, if you're a stats nerd, like a lot of people are, I'm not. They'd say, you know, more possession, more shots, more touches in the opposition box, etc., etc., etc. I know what you mean when you say that it flattered us, because when they were 3-0 up and every time they were getting a corner, they were scoring.
Yep.
You know, like you said, it could have been 7 or 8. But actually, if we'd been more clinical and taken our chances, then it could have been a different game.
No, true. But I think it's the case of, I think Arsenal kind of, like, they dealt with us in the first half and they dealt really well with us. Like we like you said, they were defending in 8s and 9s, but I felt like in the second half they kind of were like, well, this is game done, and they kind of let us back into it. And with Ray lackadaisical pass, if he doesn't do that, I don't think we even get second.
No, I don't think we do. I don't think we could score a goal at all if they didn't do that yet.
Yeah, but
anyway,
it is what it is.
This is the post-match fan show, so you guys can call in, and we're going to start off by talking to Rovshan. Rovshan, how are you, mate?
Hello guys, can you hear me?
Yes, you sound relatively positive, which I'm surprised at. Tell me your thoughts on that defeat today.
Yeah, heartbroken, embarrassed. Everything negative can be related to this game, because, you know, if that game ended 3-0, I was coming and saying that I want Ange out.
Oh, okay.
It was going to be the most unfair thing in the world, yes. But the thing is, if you're up against your rivals at home, you're not allowed to get embarrassed in first half like that. That's simple. If you had a sensational season as well, that's not allowed to happen. You cannot be 3-0 down like after 30 minutes embarrassingly like that. What I mean is, yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, we didn't say anything. Yeah, go. Keep going.
Okay. Sorry. Like, there are 2 issues there, in my opinion, when you look at the whole season in general, and particularly this game. Everyone is saying that this positionally dominated and XG this and that. For me, actually, the fact that we were dominating them positionally makes it a lot funnier, in my opinion, because like makes Ange look more idiotic, I have to say, because then it's like Arteta and Arsenal didn't need to do too much to batter us in the first half.
Good point.
That's literally it. Another thing, I don't know who is responsible for our set piece stuff, but who is responsible for that needs to be sacked immediately, because I'm not exaggerating. We have been one of the worst teams when it comes to set pieces this season. And when I say worst, we have been Sheffield United level when it comes to set pieces. Absolutely unacceptable. Why Ange is selecting Højbjerg over Pape Sarr? Yeah, obviously he knows what he's selecting, but I really try to understand and solve the issue that why Højbjerg starts over Pape Sarr, and I can't really find an answer inside myself, in my honesty. The guy comes and scores an own goal in the most idiotic way possible. You're in the third and you lose your head. You scored your goal in after corner. How is it possible? But when it comes to referee decisions, all this, that, I'm not going to talk about them because in the end, it was us that gave them this game. And for me, it's unacceptable. It's also unacceptable because 2 weeks ago, we got battered by Newcastle 4-0, and we come to this game resting 2 weeks, training 2 weeks, and Arsenal have 4 games in that space. And we still get battered after 30 minutes. How is that possible? How you didn't work out like for 2 weeks and you concede 3 goals after 30 minutes? What's worse is, us Spurs fans, we didn't have Europe this season. Hence why we need to wait for such a long time for the next game to come. And the last time we got battered by Newcastle, we waited 2 weeks for another game to come to see positives, to see football activity. And 30 minutes after 30-minute games ended. Like I never thought that we would come back from that 3-0 when we were behind. You can have a good second half, but eventually it's about whole game. The one positive is Christian Romero for me. The guy put his whole body against Arsenal. It was like him up against whole Arsenal. He was not only our better defender, but he was our only goal threat as well. Winning goals up in that pitch. Unacceptable. I'm so sad. I don't know what to say more, but Ange needs to take so many responsibilities. And one thing I was going to say as well is, maybe some may disagree or not. I don't think they disagree. First 10 games of the season, obviously, is part of the season, and we have done well in that part of the season. Yeah. But if you exclude that part, let's say season started after that Chelsea game, we have been no different to Chelsea and Manchester United, in my opinion. 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 not consistent results when it comes to. I'm not even talking about performances, because in my opinion, I really don't care about the performances. We can sit back whole 90 minutes, and if we win 1-0 in the end, I will be the happiest person in the world. I'm a result man. Yeah. I think you were going to say something.
Can I just say? Sorry. Obviously, you talked a lot about set pieces there, Rovshan, and rightly, and you said whoever does the defensive set pieces, whoever the coaches, needs to be sacked straight away. Well, that is Mile Jedinak, the ex-Crystal Palace captain and Australian international. Ange Postecoglou has clearly been asked in his post-match press conference about it, and he said, disappointing. If I thought set pieces were the answer to us bridging the gap, I'd put all my energy into that. Now, I guess what he's saying there is he's defending his feelings that there are more important issues at stake, but I would argue that at this point, actually there aren't. There aren't, because actually I think he's drummed into the players well enough how to play Ange ball system, but if you consistently concede goals from corners in a way like I've never seen that I can remember another Premier League side do it, where it's just one simple corner that if you get it in the right place and have the right person blocking the goalkeeper, you can score time and time and time again and make chances. And I've been saying this from the beginning of the season, not just corners, any defensive set piece, we never win the first ball, ever. So there's something wrong with the positioning and the zonal marking that needs to change. And I get that Ange is stubborn and he thinks there's more priorities, but it strikes me that maybe that's quite a simple change that would actually allow the team to play more Ange ball over the course of a game, because the game hasn't been blown out of the water because of the goals you've conceded, from set pieces. And then also on the flip side, and I said this earlier during the watch along, think about it, if you put yourself in the shoes of the opposition team and management, you're excited anytime you get to the byline, but you're excited to get a corner, just kick it off one of Spurs players' legs for a corner because you're going to make a chance. And I know, and I'll finish on this, I know I said, it's pretty much only one corner, but we've also conceded goals from other corners as well. There have been a couple unmarked from the 6-yard box. Was it a Brighton player? I can't remember. Someone at home, just totally unmarked. There's something deeply wrong. And Ange, and I've just seen Windy Coys, who is from the Extra Inch podcast, and he's a kind of brilliant podcaster, but also brilliant tactical person with Spurs. he's actually just said on Twitter, and I agree with him, for what it's worth, my position is that if Ange continues to refuse to do anything about our set pieces, he will be sacked and it will be deserved. And it will be a huge shame because Ange and Spurs has the potential to be a match made in heaven. And I completely agree with that. If he is so stubborn that he cuts off his nose to spite his face and doesn't do anything about it this summer or ideally before, then he will lose his big chance in the big league. That's what I have
absolutely.
to say about it.
You know, you're absolutely spot on. In my opinion, like, and I was not able to decide if he was like high category coach or not that high. But you know, when it comes to attacking football, I think top coaches need to have pragmatism in them as well. Like when you look at Arteta, Guardiola, I think what makes them great coaches is that they're balanced when they like apply some tactical stuff. But Ange, when it comes to Ange, another goal, that's Saka's goal. Look at Saka's goal. The same goal that Isak scored 2 weeks ago against us. Ball up top, and no one is at the back.
Yeah.
And Davis is obviously not able to defend against Saka. Maybe if it was Udogie, he would defend, but Davis is obviously not there. And the same goal again. These were the same goals that we considered against Newcastle. Like the same, the textbook, the same thing. And what burns me is we considered the same goals 2 weeks ago. How in that 2 weeks we were not able to work on that? Because literally the same thing happened. One thing that I will say as well, I don't like James Maddison. Like, I don't know how it sounds. I personally think without him, we attack more efficiently. I don't think when he's on the pitch, we are creative or dangerous. First 10 games of the season, the best player in the Premier League. I'm not denying that. That's for sure. But that first 10 games of the season have passed 6 months ago. And in that 6 months, he has been injured with that stuff, but he has been back for the last 3 months. And in the last 3 and 4 months, absolutely shocking. Maddison has done nothing special, like where you look at, you say, that's unbelievable. No, done nothing like that. Didn't score goals, assists, like general creativity. I personally think Maddison, Lo Celso takes that spot against Chelsea, in my opinion. Or maybe you put Kulusevski here. At the moment, I might be wrong, but that's just how I see it.
Yeah.
Between those 3 attacking midfielders, which I mean Kulusevski, Lo Celso, Maddison. Maddison is the worst performing one at the moment, in my opinion. He needs to be dropped immediately.
He's definitely not in good form. Rovshan, can I ask you, in the lead up to the Saka goal to make it 2-0, Decky Kulusevski was running onto a ball in the Arsenal 18-yard box and he was clipped by Trossard. Do you think that the reason that wasn't given as a penalty is because Kulusevski tried to stay on his feet and therefore almost gave permission to Michael Oliver to not give what might have been deemed a difficult decision in his mind? Because it's not like it's not a foul where someone's gone through completely aggressively, like say the Ben Davis penalty was, which again, he didn't give, ironically. But do you think kind of Kulusevski has to be a bit more street smart there and go down?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing the game into his hands as well. What I mean is, for me, it's a penalty, but and then I can look at it and say that it's not that obvious one. It cannot be given as well because it's just a little contact. It might be a penalty in the end, but sorry, I didn't understand the eventual question. Can you repeat, please?
No, I just mean because Kulusevski, I think when he was clipped, when he was touched, I think he tried to stay on his feet because he thought he might have a chance of a shot. Whereas I think a lot of players, let's say Saka would have just dived on the floor because he felt the touch, right?
I got it now. Yeah, because he carried on to do something. Yeah, maybe he could have asked for a penalty there. It's up to him at the point.
Yeah.
Again, in that kind of scenario, I don't like to our teams to be relied on to get penalties. Eventually, it could have been given, but I think we lost deservedly. I don't think we deserved anything from this game. And they need to be.
So City just scored.
Oh, did they? Man City scored.
Man City have just scored. Sorry.
Sorry. Okay.
Excellent.
That's
Kevin De Bruyne
life.
corner. Yeah, Nottingham Forest can't defend set pieces either. Is it Guardiola at the front?
Guardiola at the front post. But yeah, sorry, Rovshan, carry on. Sorry,
No problem. That's just life as a Spurs fan. We are supporting City at the end of the season. That's it. Thanks to Guardiola and his players.
We're supporting the financial cheats
as much as possible.
Yeah. And the last thing I will say is, this happened. This is totally unacceptable because I will not be able to sleep for 2 days. I promise you. But the one thing is that can be at least good for this result. Chelsea is one average bottom half team, as we can see it. They are not good performing team. And if we go at Stamford Bridge and not win against them as well, that's when I think Spurs fans must act aggressively, progressively, because
Rovshan, we're not going to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, mate. We're not. We're going to get turned over, and Chelsea are going to have their best performance of the season. I'm sorry, that's
we have to. We have to. They have just got battered 5-0 by a random Arsenal. Like how?
Yeah, but they got two late goals to draw against Aston Villa last night. So now that's what they're remembering. They've got the desire. Cole Palmer will get lots of time and space. And the fans will be up for it. Look, I can promise you, I know lots of Chelsea fans at the moment. They are absolutely devastated. Their club is in the fucking shit, and all they care about now is Thursday night against Spurs. They'll make it a raucous atmosphere. Tottenham will shrivel under it, I think. Yeah. Look, by saying this, I hope I'm wrong. You know, meme this up if Tottenham go there and win 4 or 5-0. There's nothing I want more. But Rovshan, if you are genuinely thinking that we can get something at Stamford Bridge and that we should, we just won't. We're not there yet.
We have to. We have to because we got battered by Newcastle and Arsenal consecutively. Now,
it's not going to stop.
We need to get a result. Eventually, because then we play Liverpool. Liverpool is a guaranteed loss. City is a guaranteed loss, maybe. But that Chelsea game.
Rovshan, City is the one that isn't a guaranteed loss. Because they've got a terrible record against us.
That's the problem. Because if we beat them, then Arsenal will win the league. That's the problem as well.
I know.
Chelsea game, no excuses. If Chelsea win against us, or even withdraw them, I think Ange needs to take big responsibilities. Because, Stamford Bridge is a very bad place for us. I know it. I know the history.
Yeah.
But that's the time that we need to win over them. Because they're a mid-table team. And if we don't win at Stamford Bridge, what's the point of supporting Spurs until the end of the season?
Rovshan said like a true Tottenham Hotspur fan. Thank you so much for calling in, mate. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you after. In your words, our definite win against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. In my words, our definite continuation of a disappointing time. Thanks, Rovshan.
See you guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Marlon, I've just seen this tweet that really made me laugh. It's clearly from a Manchester City fan a few hours ago. And he's tweeted, only supported Spurs for 45 minutes of my life and absolutely hate existence. I think that pretty much sums it up. Let's get on to our next caller. Is it Sanele? Is that right? Have I said it right, mate? How are you? Oh, I think you're on mute. I can hear you now, mate. Is it Sanele? Is that right?
It's Sanele.
Sanele. I'm sorry, mate. How are you, mate? Thank you so much for calling in. How are you feeling?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, horrible.
Can I just quickly move, maybe?
Of course.
Is it better?
That's all good. Yeah. Just let us know. What are you feeling after that 3-2 defeat?
Really, it's a bit sad, but what can we say? For me, we played great football. The only problem I have, as much as we want to put it on Postecoglou for the corners, for me, it's not quite on Postecoglou every time. Sometimes Ricardo is the tallest player in the box. He just has to move, and he's the most protected player in the box during corners, free kicks, set pieces eventually. If he just moves and they touch him, he just has to throw himself to the ground. He gets a free kick. But he prefers to just stand on the line every time, which doesn't help anyone. I used to play soccer. I used to be a center back. every time as a centre back, I'd shout at my goalkeeper too. When they cross, they float in the ball most of the time. Get out of the post and just touch that ball. Let someone touch you, you'll get the foul. But he doesn't do that. And then we go forward. It's fine. I move from that. Most of the time, most Spurs fans say Van der Ven is our best defender. Not according to me. Our best defender is Romero. The primary job of a defender is to defend. But Van der Ven, every time the other team has the ball, he's looking to go back. He's looking to run and go save people. It's not about saving people. Everyone, it's a 1v1 match everywhere. And when Romero steps in the midfield, and then the other player of the opposition team steps in the midfield, and then Van der Ven doesn't follow that player, there's gonna be space created. And now him running back is putting everyone else in a position where they all vulnerable, because you're running too high the pitch, and then you're coming back and you're already tired. The pitch is not small. That's why we press high to win the ball closer to the other team's goal. But every time when he wants to run back, it won't help the team because everyone is tired when they go back because you're sprinting to go forward. So I don't know what's your take on it, but for me, I don't really think Van der Ven is our best defender. Sharp, he saved us a lot of times, but the person who's really saving us is Romero, because when it's time for him to step forward, he does step forward. But when it's time for Van der Ven to step forward, he never steps forward. And I hate to say this, but Son won't make it next season on the wing. I think they should just keep him in the positions of a striker, because on the wing, for me, Son will not take on players. And I saw when Lo Celso passed him the ball, he made the run inside to open the space in the pitch, but he opted to go down the line where Lo Celso was making a run from, when he could just move to his right and put in a cross, or move to his right or take a shot. But for me, I'm not quite happy with the lose, but I'm happy with Romero though.
Sanele, can I just
Romero's
jump in
performance
there?
was really good for him.
Sanele, can I just jump in there and say something about Son? Is it not right, and has it not been clear for a while, that Son is excellent on the left when he's playing in a situation where you can counter teams and there's space to run into at pace? He's still got the pace to trouble people there, and obviously he's an elite finisher. But against low blocks, and let's face it, Arsenal played a low block today. They played, 9, 10, 11 men behind the ball at all times. So when he was pushed out to the left,
yes,
he wasn't doing much. But against those low blocks, sometimes Werner has done okay to get to the byline and cut it back, and we'll be looking for players who can do more than that. But I think the bigger question for me is, do you think Son is better in the number 9 than Richarlison at the moment?
Son bench for me. Put Son on the bench. I know Son is our captain, but for me, Son is not really our captain. My captain in the team, I'd give it to Romero. Yeah. Son doesn't really give us the energy. I think today, if you had 8 players who were Romero and another 3 players who were Kulusevski type, you would have won the match because they wanted to win the match. They showed us the urge. They wanted to, they were giving it their all. That's why Romero ended up going to play striker. He didn't want to lose that match.
Yeah, that's true.
And Kulusevski was pretty different from the Kulusevski we've been seeing before. So those are the small stuff that I'd like to say. But the other thing, Vicario is not good with his feet. Like sometimes his decision making for the first goal, if he just cleared that ball, he's good. But the other thing you'd see, if he takes a touch to his right foot, he'd see Medicine in the midfield, or just hold it up to Son. But he preferred to play to Van der Ven, who was already pressed. So for me, that's why I say for me Van der Ven is not that much of a great defender, because yes, he does tackles, but when it comes to him and he has to header the ball and things like that, tackling high balls and things like that, he doesn't really win much duels there. And us saying he is the best defender, who's more complete between Van der Ven and Romero? I'd say Romero, because Romero can do everything, yeah. But he just doesn't have that much of pace that Van der Ven has.
The good thing is, I think they do complement each other
in some way, yeah.
Well, look, Sanele, thank you so much for calling in. Really appreciate it, mate. Make sure you call in after the Chelsea game on Thursday as well. Hopefully there'll be a better reaction, a better result for you there, but there won't be.
Okay, it's not a Okay, as long as Ange stays in, I'm Ange in.
Okay, good. So you're Ange.
Thank you so much for your call.
Okay, see you, mate. Sanele is Ange in, but he's Son out and he's Van der Ven out.
Yeah.
No, Sanele, great caller. Thank you, mate. Honestly, I think there have been a few people actually suggesting that maybe Sonny shouldn't start against Chelsea on Thursday. He looks to me a little bit like he's lost confidence in his ability to get enough chances to affect the game, basically.
I think he looks knackered,
yeah,
if I'm being completely honest.
Let's get Arian on. Mate, how are you doing? Tell us how you're feeling.
Look, I'm going to say it because maybe no one's going to say it. I really think we were incredibly unlucky not to get at least a point from that game. I'm going to say it that way because I think if you take the way we started that game, we were better than them until the set pieces, which of course we don't defend well. We conceded 2 sloppy set pieces. There's no running away from the set pieces. I'm going to say it 10 times because I know everyone's going to say it. The set pieces were crap. We're not good at them. We need to defend them better. That's a problem, period. Okay? We've established that the set pieces are a problem. Now let's move on to the rest of the game because there's more to the sport than just set pieces. We look at how we started in open play. In open play, I think there is no argument in how much better we were than Arsenal open play across the entirety of the 90 minutes. Yeah. They created absolutely nothing from open play. The only thing they created was that second goal, which should not have stood.
Yeah.
It should not. It should have been pulled back. If Saka was the one who went down, it would have been a penalty. It would have been given.
Arian, can I just said one was kind of a bit panicky, but I think it played exactly how Arteta wanted it to play, and he knew that basically they would score from some set pieces or at least one set piece, and therefore he might have even been like, do you know what, it'll benefit us to not have to do all the running in this game because we've got important games to come and we've just played 4 games in 2 weeks. So I get and I appreciate that you're being really positive about how well we did, and I agree if we were more clinical it would have been a very different game, but for the long term, is there any hope, do you think, that Ange, say we're doing much better next season, we're closer to Arsenal, Man City, would evolve himself in a game like this and say, this is how we're going to play it to win this 3 points, and it's not going to change our overall style of play?
Well, here's what I'm going to say. First of all, I don't think that I think it's a bit silly to say Arteta goes into this game thinking, you know what, we're going to sit back and we're going to defend, and that it worked, because it really did not work. They went 1-0 up, own goal. Immediately we equalize. Porro takes a shot, and it deflects like a pinball for about what felt like 20 seconds. It was more like half a second off 2 people. But Tomiyasu plays the ball. He tries to clear it. It goes off Gabriel's head. Van de Ven is debatably offside or onside there, because I sincerely think that Gabriel's ass was playing him on. And regardless, the fact that goal does not go on and count is luck. Arsenal are lucky to have gotten an own goal, and that Van de Ven's goal did not count. Then it's not. It should be 1-1. It's still 1-0. We go ahead. We get what should have been a penalty by any letter of the law. He's going down. He's getting clipped, and it's a penalty. Not only do we not get the penalty, they counter because we have people forward, and they score again. His game plan did not work. It did not work well. They created absolutely nothing, especially coming from open play, and they ended up getting lucky. And the thing is, we've seen as Spurs fans, we've had coaches play this way for 5 years.
Getting lucky. You're talking about set pieces here. But if you look at, you're talking about the best team at set pieces going up against the team with the worst set pieces, and that's lucky.
I didn't say they were lucky to score the set pieces. I'm saying they were lucky not to be behind in the game.
But when? Because there was not one part where we were going to ever go. They went 1-0 up within the first 15 minutes. We didn't have a chance before they scored. So we weren't lucky, were we?
They were lucky not to be behind because we created more chances than they did. What I'm telling you is, this is exactly why I prefaced the entire thing with set pieces, because people like you on Twitter and the whole day I've been saying, but the set pieces, but yes, I know the set pieces are a problem. I'm not talking about the set pieces. I'm talking about the entire game as a whole.
But Arian, they are part of the game, right? So if you don't defend them, it doesn't matter what you do for the rest of the game.
Okay, see, this is exactly what I'm saying. Let's use some critical thinking skills here, because I get that the set pieces are the problem. So moving on from the game, of course they're a problem. I'm not saying they're not a problem, but I'm saying despite that, Arsenal were incredibly lucky not to be punished regardless. They punished us for how bad we were at set pieces. I'm not denying that. And you can bring up set pieces until the cows come home. Because, again, I'm not disagreeing with you here. You want to sit me down and say, hey, but the set pieces. Yes, I know we're shit at set pieces. I'm not talking about solely the set pieces. I am conceding the point of set pieces. I'm conceding that it's a problem. And that's absolutely fine. What I'm telling you is they scored 2 set-piece goals. They scored 1 from open play, which should not have counted. We should have had another penalty. We should have been able, our Van de Ven's goal should have counted. And on top of that, we scored 2 goals. We created more than they did over the course of the game. And we were very unlucky not to go on and win that game, or at least get a point. Michael Oliver's performance from every angle was dreadful. The fact that he had to wait for VAR to give him that penalty that Ben Davies ended up getting is a ridiculous decision. And that is paired up with the fact that Tomiyasu today, 5 times he fouled. He only ended up, he didn't get a single yellow card. Arsenal had more fouls than us, and like every other game this season, especially since Liverpool, more fouls, yet we have more cards. It doesn't work that way. The refereeing performance was shambolic, and it cost us the game. Again, I will say the set pieces were horrible. We need to defend them better, and needs to manage them. The set pieces are a problem. They're a problem. They're a problem. They're a part of the game. They're a problem. I am not saying the set pieces aren't a problem, but the fact of the matter is, over the course of the game, because of what we created in open play and what was taken from us, what was sincerely taken from us, we were unlucky. We were very unlucky, because also the goal that the second goal to put them 2-0 up, which I am saying again should not have counted because it was a penalty instead of an Arsenal goal. If that goal doesn't go in, the entire landscape of the game changes, because Arsenal and any team in this world play differently 2-0 up than 1-0 up or level 1-1. If instead of Arsenal going 2-0 up, it is 1-1 and Spurs keep pushing on, instead of going 2-0 up, it's 1-1. Or if Van de Ven's goal counted, it was 1-1. Or if Van de Ven's goal counted and Spurs' penalty was given and it was 2-1 Spurs, do you think the landscape of the game wouldn't have changed? This is what I'm telling you. The landscape of the game
was exciting at that point. Like it would have changed the game. Of course it would. But you know, I get what you're saying, but I'm not sure. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, that we can set. I know you're saying, you know, we're setting set pieces apart, but I'm not sure you can.
You can't. That's the issue that we.
You've got to take it as a whole.
I'm not saying set them apart. I'm not saying that they're not a part of the game. I'm not saying we didn't deserve to concede them. This is not what I'm talking about. But what I am talking about is you put the set pieces in. You put the goals we conceded. I'm not saying we didn't concede these goals, right? You concede these goals, and you move on. And what we did create, despite the set pieces, we conceded a set piece. We go on and score. It's taken from us. That's taken from us. We go on and get a penalty. Not only has it not been given as a penalty, they go on and score from that counterattack. If those things do not happen, and we are instead 2-1 up instead of 2-0 down, the landscape of the game changes. The way Arsenal have to defend and attack changes. The way that perhaps they might get a set piece changes. If they're, instead of defending on a 6-3-1, they're attacking and they're leaving in space behind for us to exploit, and not just playing for the long balls and the set pieces. The entire landscape of the game is different. This is what I'm saying. And that would, in turn, cause the result to be different. I'm not saying that they're not a better team for a myriad of different reasons, because they are.
I'll give you this. We defend that set piece better. The whole game landscape's different anyway, right?
Right. Because the set pieces are a problem. That's what I'm also telling you, that a set piece is a problem.
So it's not luck, is it then? It's Arsenal have come to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium knowing the fact that Spurs are not good at set pieces, and that was their game plan, as Barnaby said. It's not luck.
Their game plan, okay, right. They go into the game looking for the set pieces, but this is what I'm saying. You're not listening to what I'm saying, because I'm again telling you that we need to be defending them better. Regardless of that, their game plan worked, but it would not have worked if the referee decisions were correctly made, which they were not. Yeah. That is luck.
Can I ask you about that, Arian?
Luck is an aspect of that.
Let's get off that then. So can I ask you then about the Kulusevski penalty that should have been, that led to then Saka's goal? I asked the earlier guy, do you think that Kulusevski was a bit naive to stay on his feet? To try and stay on his feet?
I think, look, I think we're kind of, I don't think so. I don't think he's naive to stay on his feet. I think what we should be doing is encouraging someone to stay on their feet.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. I'm not convinced we get that penalty if he goes down anyway. And I don't blame him for not going down because the trend has been, until today, Spurs average the high, I think we still do, but just not as much. Spurs average the highest touches in the opposition box per penalty. 1,193 touches per penalty. That is a ridiculous stat. Arsenal managed 1/10 of that at 156. So I don't blame Kulusevski for trying to stay on his feet because he's thinking they're not going to give me this shit anyway, even though it's a penalty. So no, I don't think he's necessarily naive because the evidence is pointing to the fact that the referees, especially since Liverpool, do not want to give us these decisions. So I'm not going to blame Kulusevski for that. The fact of the matter is the referee should be doing his job better. And the fact that Michael Oliver needs VAR to tell him that a kick in the nuts in the box is a penalty is indicative of how the entire night went because the referee's performance was shambolic and it took the game from us.
So Arian, what do you think? What do you think then? So you come up with two good examples there. Do you genuinely think? I'll give you two options. Is it that Michael Oliver knows that he's refereeing a big game where there's the possibility of inciting the crowd by making a bad decision, so he's purposely trying to not give penalties? Or do you think there's more to it? Are you suggesting that, there's some level of corruption and Michael Oliver didn't want Tottenham to have a penalty?
At no point am I going to... The motive is not relevant to me. Whether it's corruption or incompetence does not matter to me. The point is the decisions were wrong. I could sit here and I could accuse Michael Oliver of 1,000,001 things. I could say that they want to manufacture a title race to keep the league entertaining. I can say that they want... It doesn't matter. The point is the decisions were wrong. Whether or not that is on purpose or on accident, it is unacceptable. And they were wrong multiple times. Tomiyasu walked without a booking. There was a point that, I think it was Martinelli or Ben White, on the edge of the area, Kulusevski is completely taken out. They dribble down, Martinelli, he gets pushed, and immediately it's a foul. And that, I was just like, are you serious at that point? Because there was two very similar challenges, but one team gets it and one team doesn't. And those little moments, especially in a game this big, as you said, when he has the responsibility like that on his shoulders, he cannot make mistakes like that consistently and repeatedly, and especially when it comes to the high-profile decisions, like the VAR decisions with Van de Ven and with... Well, Van de Ven is not up to him, but the penalty decision, those things cannot be mistakes they can make more than one time, and he's not made them just once. It's the same decision that screwed us in the Chelsea game that completely derailed our season. Michael Oliver is not his first time being bad, it's certainly not going to be his last. And in a game this big, this monumental for both teams' seasons, what he did today was unacceptable, despite the fact that we were poor from set pieces, despite the fact that we were our own worst enemy at times, especially from corners. The fact of the matter is, I think we did enough outside of set pieces to get the game back and to claw it back, and our efforts, which were valid and should have earned us points at a point at the minimum, those efforts, despite the set pieces, were completely taken away from us for no reason, and that's my point.
Fair enough, Arian. Thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate that. As you'll understand, I'm sure, I definitely love the positivity. I'm always trying to find positivity, even where there is very little to be found. So, Arian, let's speak to you again after the match on Thursday against Chelsea, hopefully, and try and have a good week, mate. Really appreciate it.
I'll try. As always, come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs. A very, very strict... He's very strict with his opinions today, Arian.
Yeah, I question that though, because he's saying to take set pieces out. If you take set pieces out, you'd have to take all Romero's out. So the only chance we actually had was Son's.
Yeah, but then he was also saying, I'm not saying don't take set pieces to take set pieces out, but I did get to see whilst Arian was on the line, Brian from Tottenham on Tour reacting to what Arian was saying. So I feel he's going to feel quite strongly about it. So how are you, Brian? Oh,
mate,
we've got you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We got you. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing excuses from fans, from the manager and Postecoglou. We let the fans down. Sonny has said we take positive from the second half. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing the same crap. I didn't know there was a championship, but we played well in parts. If there was a championship, but we played well in parts, we're the champions. It was horrific performance again.
Brian, remember what Arian said. You can't use set pieces as an excuse because they're different to the rest of the game.
Mate, listen, I put a tweet out and said, do not play out from the back and do all this. Like I said last week, we played, or 2 weeks ago, we played more chances at the back, playing out from the back that we do up front. And what do? We didn't concede in a corner. We know we're crap at set pieces. They're good at it. They did it. They played us to a T. Sorry, I'm just going to move somewhere. It's parental rain right now. One sec. That's better. Yeah,
right.
mate, listen. It's just
Right.
poor.
Yeah, so I just want to raise... Just seen something on Twitter, so just showing the replay of the Van de Ven disallowed goal. I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong here, because I don't understand how the phases work. So obviously he's given offside by VAR for the first shot from Porro. But actually it looks to me like the first deflection from Saliba goes forward towards the other Arsenal player that it deflects off and then goes through. Is that not a different phase at that point?
Well, the thing is, from what I saw, it looked like it was an Arsenal player that touched it. So technically, it shouldn't be offside.
No, yeah.
Technically,
he has the shot and Saliba blocks it, but he blocks it forward and then it hits an Arsenal player and comes backwards through to Van de Ven. So, even if he is offside from the original shot, I feel like that should be a separate phase of play.
If you're saying it's the second phase of play,
I don't know. I don't fully understand it.
If it's the second phase of play, which I don't think they're going to class it as, they're going to say it's the first phase, then he wouldn't be offside.
Yeah.
But because it's still part of the Porro,
part of the same attack,
they're going to say it's all part of the same thing, and he has gained an advantage by being in that position once Porro's taken the shot.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you know what? You need to do, like in London when you're doing the taxis, you need to do the knowledge. I think we all need to do it for VAR. It's getting ridiculous. But the one thing I do want to make a point of is we apparently have £200 million to spend, and this is the time that we strike. That money needs to be spent just on the front line. Just on the front line to sort this out, because start of the season, it was free-flowing, we were dangerous, we looked lethal, we looked tired, we looked devoid of ideas, the front line has gone to pieces, absolute pieces. We're so many opportunities were breaking forwards, and we just play it back, and just keep doing the same thing. Postecoglou has got to start seeing that he's got to manage the game better. When we were under attack and we were under siege at one point, just weather the storm for 10, 15 minutes, then go back to your principles. It's not on. It's not on.
Do you think, Brian, as soon as that second goal goes in, do you feel like Postecoglou Ange should have just changed something at that point?
Well, do you know what? The build-up, you're talking about the penalty. Look, when you first see it, it does look like a penalty, but I can understand why it wasn't given, because it was just a clip and they're running next to each other. He didn't deliberately put his leg out to back, so I can kind of get it. I actually thought before the replay that the second tackle on that field, I thought that was more of a penalty. Until I saw it and saw that the Arsenal player actually got the ball. But as soon as they broke forward, Ben Davies, don't let Saka cut in. Don't let Saka cut in. He just literally opened his body and said, just tuck inside me and put it away. And listen, Arsenal didn't have many chances, but they are so clinical. When they get them, they take them. Our best chances fell to our defence.
Yeah, true. And Sonny had that one just at the end of the first half, didn't he?
Yeah. Do you know what? And he's not on form at the moment, but you know what? If there had been any player on the pitch you would have wanted that ball at that moment to be at, it would have been him. And do you know what? Not to even get it on target. Was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But it's okay. We're here again. The excuses come out. The not to the win. 20 points below them. Champions League, which I didn't want and didn't think we're going to get, is not in our hands anymore, and we as a lot of this fan base go, next season will be different.
Well, hold on.
Don't worry, there's always next season.
But hold on, what was your prediction for our season at the beginning of the season? I'm not sure.
For our season, mate. Barnaby, what I said all season, I didn't give a prediction. I had two things that I would deem as a success. One was we finished the season with the manager we started it with.
Yeah.
And the second thing was that we took both the clubs seriously. That was all I didn't even bother talking about the league. The only two things I wanted was deem a success, 50% of the way there, because Ange will finish the season. And I'm still Ange in. Ange needs time. It's just, if we get the right players for him that can play his system, it will work. It will work. It's whether we get
I think you're right.
the players. That's the thing. I've got to listen. He's shown what he can do. He's shown the style of football he wants to play. When Mourinho was at Chelsea and all the big managers, Klopp and Liverpool, they have one style of play, but the key is they got the players to play it.
Can I ask where you heard that we have £200 million to spend in the summer? Because I don't think we'll have. It's
all across Twitter. And remember this new investment, that bullshit that comes out when every single time there's new investment coming in and that goes quiet, the PR stunt. Mate, whatever it comes out, this club will do the same as it does every single year, quantity over quality.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have £200 million to spend. That's for sure.
It's just the
Mate, not in your wildest dreams. I'll be lucky if we get 200 million over the next 3 windows.
This includes if people that we sell, that we're looking to sell, plus the investment that's coming in.
Brian, I have to ask you then, Chelsea Thursday night. Are you as fearful as I am?
Oh, mate, I said beforehand, if there was one game in hand, everyone was going about when we had that one game in hand, that it's in our hand, it's in our hand. If there is one game you do not want that game in hand to be, it's away at Chelsea. There is absolute, forget how bad they're playing or how hot and cold they are. This is a nightmare place for us. Yeah. I said at the beginning of the week, unfortunately, I predict 0 points in the next 3 games. And then the 2 away games that we are absolutely historically woeful at, Chelsea and Liverpool.
I think we've got more chance against Liverpool than we do Chelsea, knowing us.
Mate, listen, where do we go from here? I'm sick and tired of going, oh, well, we played well in patches, and then if we're taking our opportunities, we didn't. We didn't. Well, Other teams that want success take their chances.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because, look, I get what Arian was saying before, right? And I completely get it, right? But if we looked at the game as a whole, we didn't actually play badly. What it was, we got done by all our weaknesses in one game, in one half.
But Marlon, we played well until we got near the penalty area.
Yeah, because
apart from 11 men behind the ball, that also did have something to do with that.
But this is the issue, because if he's gonna play a certain way, right? We're not creating the chances either, are we? We're not. They put 11 men ball. They put 9 men behind the ball, apart from Havertz, and we find it hard to break teams down. Yeah. And it just seems to be a regular occurrence over the last few weeks that this is what all teams are doing against us, and we're just coming unstuck.
Yeah. Yep, and not just that as well, Marlon. You look at it. So many people said, "Oh, they're going to be tired. Their season's over. We're going to strike and put the final nail in their coffin. It's done. April always gets them." They got out of the Champions League. 2-0 against Wolves, 6-5 against Chelsea. The only success we can take is at least they've conceded an away goal, and we ended that since Nottingham Forest. Congratulations, Spurs! You ended one of their records. Well done, bravo.
Brian, I'm laughing because I was one of those people. I was one of those people.
That's the thing. Like I said, that's what I'm just disappointed that we didn't get Bissouma didn't come on and score a goal and make it 172 goal scorers in the Premier League to be proud of.
Yeah, Brian, mate, thanks so much for calling. We've only got 10 minutes left, so I'm going to try and get another caller on.
Don't worry, boys. Have a great one. Have a great one.
Result on Thursday.
See you later, Brian.
Cheers, mate. Pray for that. Later.
Yeah. See you, mate. I just want to read you before we speak to anyone else. Just want to read you Ange's quote. He was asked, "Can you see there's more of a trend now with the amount of set-piece goals being conceded this season?" And he said, "No, because it's understanding where you are as a football team. If I thought fixing defensive set-pieces was the answer to us bridging the gap, then I'd put all of my time and effort into that. But that's not where we're at. For us, it's about when I was focused on the details of not just set-pieces, but a lot of moments in games where we don't sense that you give good opposition the time and the space to do things, then they're going to hurt you. I think they maybe had 4 attempts on goal in the first half and they conceded 3. I don't think it's about one part of it. I think it's a bigger, broader picture than that. But our defensive set pieces for those 2 were very poor. But there's a lot more to it than that to fix." Well, I think he's trying to deflect.
Of course,
but also, it's like, But if we hadn't conceded those 2 set pieces, it would have only been 1-0 at halftime.
Well, this is exactly what Arian said as well, isn't it? And I think that's forgotten. And we also had, I think it was a super chat from Donovan before we go to a caller, and it was, Marlon, stop being a dingus.
Oh, you're being a dingus, Marlon.
Yes.
Raj, you're up next, mate. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to have to keep it quite short. But thank you for calling in. Tell me how you're thinking and feeling about it.
Oh, yeah, today was, I don't think we deserved to win. I think it was awful. It was poor, really. I think it's been happening far too often. 3-0 down, 4-0 against Newcastle, Fulham, same, Brighton, and we don't protect our back four.
No, we don't. That's true.
We don't. I don't think he knows his best midfield combination. One week he plays Højbjerg. 1 week, Basuma starts, just different combinations. He's not really got that resolve. Like the back five, that's pretty much, with the Vicario, if Odigi is fit, Porro, Van der Ven, and Romero. So back five. Just going forward also, I don't think he knows his best combination. I think we're struggling. In that sense, a lot of teams now have pretty much found us out. They've put 11 men behind the ball, which basically puts Son out of the, Son's not really a number 9. I don't think he's Harry Kane. He's not gonna, Harry Kane can play, was able to play with his back to the goal, he was able to, with Gabriel and Saliba, he was able to compete. Son can't do that. Son has to be on the move and when he got that chance, he didn't take it, but most of the game, he was pretty much non-existent. I thought better on the left and better playing Richarlison at the moment. The way teams are lining up against us. Until Ange, we've got to give him time. I think Arteta. Look, Arteta. He's in his 4th or 5th season. Guardiola and Klopp, they've 6, 7 seasons. They're well ahead of. And in terms of where we want to be, and we just got to hope that next season the transfer window he gets his players in. But today, I just we didn't make Raya work. Apart from the goals, we didn't have any much clear-cut chances throughout
Raj,
the game.
Sorry to interrupt, mate, but as you said, they did play such a deep block that they were able to protect Raya, and they had so many bodies behind the ball. I just want to ask you about this. Ange was asked in his press conference, what did you make of the decision in the opposition box before the transition goal, by which he means Kulusevski being clipped before the Saka goal? And he says, it doesn't matter how I saw it. What matters is what I've said all along. Games are not refereed in the stadium anymore. They are refereed somewhere else, and no one will convince me otherwise. It's not even re-refereed, it's refereed somewhere else. That's why I don't celebrate goals anymore, like me. I wait for somebody down the road. I just don't think referees in the stadium anymore have the authority they used to make decisions. They just go, you know what? I'll wait and see what the bloke down the road thinks. It's a shame. I don't like it, but it's his stay, and I've got to accept it like everyone else. And do you know what? He is spot on.
I don't agree with that second because it's Michael Oliver.
The reason why I think he's spot on is because I totally believe that referees now think, if I'm not sure, I'm not going to give it. And then it goes down the road. But what that takes away is the ones that are still fouls, but he's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to be the one who looks like a mug.
It's Michael Oliver, though.
They're passing the buck onto the VAR.
Passing the buck.
I don't agree. I don't agree with it because of who the referee was. I agree with other refs,
right? But
Michael Oliver is one of the referees that will always give stuff and go, actually, if I've got it wrong, VAR will back me out, right? So I don't think it doesn't that in that situation. I think the Kulusevski thing, he needs the help from VAR because he just sees it as a trip and moves on.
So you think he saw the contact?
I think he saw the contact, but doesn't think it's enough for Kulusevski to go down. So I think he needs to rely on VAR. This is Michael Oliver. This is only Michael Oliver. So I think actually in that scenario, Andrew's got that wrong because I think in this situation, VAR needs to get involved. But I think if VAR's not there, Michael Oliver still gives that decision on that one only, right? Because I think with the penalty as well, again, I don't think usually he gives these things. Michael Oliver's really quick to give these things, right? And that's why I go, but usually he doesn't. So when it comes to, if it was Anthony Taylor, I'd be totally agreeing with what you say.
If Michael Oliver has gone into that game and he's like, you know, I'm going to keep my cards in my pocket,
which he has done,
and I'm not going to turn it into, you know, I'm not going to incite the crowd, and so then he's basically thinking he must be assuming that players are more likely to dive in the box to try and win penalties. But the thing about the Kulusevski one that especially annoys me about it is that is such a classic example of if he's running through the middle of midfield and they're on a transition against the opposition and he gets clipped like that, whether it's on when he's running across a defender, whether it's on purpose or not, and it's not on purpose, it doesn't need to be on purpose. But it's one of those ones where you cannot stop yourself from clicking your other leg and going down and stopping your momentum. That's what annoys me about it. It's like the fact that it wasn't deliberate makes it more a foul for me. Weirdly.
But this is where I think like VA people have trouble. Like Michael Oliver doesn't give that, right? So everyone's got their wish. VAR doesn't get involved. But actually, VAR is a mistake, which VAR should be getting involved, right? Because it's about the clear and obvious, right? But actually, this is where all the referees, even the ones in Stockley Park, they all agreed that Michael Oliver was correct in his decision.
I guess the frustrating thing is, for me, the one that was overturned by VAR yesterday in the Chelsea-Villa game was not clear and obvious.
Exactly.
And today's one, I guess, is deemed not to be clear and obvious as well, but...
So I think in this scenario, if it's not like, because these decisions were happening before VAR, and I think I think as a Premier League fan base right now, we're hiding behind VAR. Fix the main problem. Our referees are crap.
Yeah.
Right? Every week they're making mistake after mistake, and yes, they're getting 90%. I think the percentage has gone up, but they were making like 91% before that they were getting right. The refereeing in this country needs to change, and I think this is what the problem is. Sort the refereeing out, VAR will sort itself out.
Yeah. Raj, before I let you go, I want your prediction for Chelsea on Thursday night at Stamford Bridge.
I'll be positive and I'll say
2-2.
3-1 Spurs.
Raj, you're mad.
Thank you, Raj.
Mad. Thanks so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. Guys, that is going to be the end of today's post-match fan show. Thank you all for calling in. Really appreciate it. If you're feeling sad and low about it, just try and remember, I don't know, I'm only going to speak for myself here. I didn't think we'd be in 5th place at this point. And look, yes, there are other teams who've not done well, but the reality is they've not done well, having had way better seasons last season and not changed their manager when you're talking about Man United. Yes, they've had some injuries. Chelsea are just a joke. Newcastle have had some injuries and had to deal with European football. We've had a lot of things to contend with as well. New manager, lost our best player. We're in 5th place. I don't think we're going to get 4th, but maybe something can come out from up there. We can go to Stamford Bridge and get something. Marlon, thank you so much for coming on today. Guys, don't forget, subscribe to We Are Tottenham TV. Go over to Spurs Kings TV, at Spurs Kings TV. Subscribe there. Subscribe to me at @BarnabySlater_, and we will see you on Thursday night for hopefully something better. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.